You'll start feeling better. It'll slowly go back.
Hello, this is Divine Sunshine, and this is the playground experience. Let me bring it closer so you can see. What a whirlwind! Then we got my lovely co-host here, Kathy D, and I got my other lovely co-host here, April Williams. All righty then. Hello, everybody out there in TV land. Hey, Kiki. Hey, CP in Texas. Hey, Benita. All right, anybody else out there? Hello. If I have not mentioned your name, I see you. Believe me, I see you. All right, so tonight's episode is dun, 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 dun. April Williams, take it away. What's tonight's episode?
The Wizard of Oz. I had some kind of cute idea about how to like intro that, but it's been such, you feel it, I feel it, and we're all nauseous. Except
Yeah.
for Kathy D, who's holding it together with her fitness. Because she be up in the gym just working on her fitness. Anyway, yes, there's too much happening. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Y'all been there. We been there. We there right now. I was laying there last night, about to dream, thinking, what is it that we
I see the little
talk
curls.
about? I know. He's posted up watching a show, if not painting the world red with ketchup. My hands are still sticky. Anyway, you guys should have seen it. We were going to be on time and everything. They were ready, they were set up, but then life hit me like a storm, hit me like a hurricane of ketchup and fries.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so last night, that's what the ponderance was how are we, where are we as a collective within the twin flame community? And we are in a whirlwind, we are in a storm, we are all looking to find our way home, to place our feet
On the ground.
Yes, we've been having, because I like the confirmation, because as soon as you go out the door, there you go, you get it. You say one thing, then you're like, oh, you just opened up the can. Oh my goodness, we're all in a boat. And some of us do not handle motion very well. And it seems like if you think you can handle it, right? You think you got it. Spirit is totally like, oh no, darling, this is the time for surrender. Chop! Stops you right under your feet. So it pushes you into one path or another, and it's all us leading towards that golden path or that yellow brick road, right? And that whirlwind, that twister, that whoop. And somehow we landed on a witch that we didn't even know existed. And then we took her out. But then we learned all kinds of things about ourselves and new perspectives of the world. And we just appreciated that home. It just made us more fond and more um, wanting to connect with our partner. And but by doing that connection, it's like us looking at ourselves. It's us finding our way back to our center. It's us finding that yellow brick road and our little partners and friends that we meet along the way. Be they the beautiful divine sunshine or Kathy D, or even that inner glow from me, the awakening of the goddess self, and the sustaining, the holding of the line. So it has been, I'm kind of sick. Anybody else sick? Who's nauseous? We want to tag out, but guess what? It's a twin flame show, so you just tag yourself right back in. It's
I
just a
like it.
weird MC Escher painting. I feel like it's going, and I feel sick about it. Oh yes. How about you, Kathy D?
I had earlier this week, yeah, I had the body drop in the temperature in my body drop, and then the extreme fatigue where I felt like I was just going to absolutely pass out and I couldn't take it anymore. And I finally decided, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And so instead of sitting there in it, I know, and that's what we say, sit in it. understand where you are. But there comes a point when you sit in it and you understand where you are, you also know you need to get up and move. And I did. And I was just telling him today, like, over 5,000 steps so far today. I get up and move. I walk in circles. I actually caught myself today walking in the infinity sign in my one classroom. Didn't even realize I was doing it during my planning period. I just was walking, walking, walking.
Awesome.
And, then I came home and, life hit and I got that taken care of and hopped on the elliptical and off I went and, put on my tunes and and just zoned out and did like a whole, just closed my eyes and worked out and just whole body, moved my head and danced to the music while I was on the elliptical and just did my thing. And I had to, or I was going back into that sick. And see, I'd had it the other week when I thought I had COVID. So I was like, oh no. And once I figured out what that was, I was like, oh no, we're not going back there.
Yes, I know that's right. Benita says, I seen that. She said,
Several
oh,
posts.
mm-hmm. And Facebook land from others who had the body temp drops and all that in the past week. Yeah, yesterday, like I said, I was 1 minute I was finishing doing my lesson plans. It was 3:38, and the next minute I woke up, it was 4:50. I was like, "What happened?" It just said, "Wow!" This hit me like a wave. I hadn't felt that way in a long time. And today I just had a series of a lot of this lightheadedness, just like around and headaches today. And it just hit me all of a sudden. I was like, oh my God. But like you said, it seems like some of them is because of our counterparts are going through something. And we're seeing them, yeah, ascensions too, so
Mm-hmm.
fatigue, all of that is just like wow, all at the same time that we're actually dealing with. So it does feel like actually it is the Wizard of Oz. Like like I'm Dorothy in Kansas, and any second now I'm looking for the Munchkin people to come traipsing through this area and telling me about something because it's just really has been something with these energies. I know we've been transitioning and getting ready, and I talked about even on the channel about things falling apart as well, and how we're just really getting ready, as Benita has even said on her channel about uh, change. And it seems like we're going through like in so many levels, physically, mentally, like the four bodies, all of those things. Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention? I keep on forgetting. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Did I miss something?
Emotional maturity too. There's a sense of
Yeah.
it's like actually formatting, like fully absorbing our programming or our reprogramming that we've been doing for ourselves and our families
Yeah.
and our cultural groups. And we're all anchoring in this place of love, but it can be nauseating and frustrating in the cleansing. And sometimes that's what we have to do is we take that fire, we take that passion, we take that seemingly anger, and we turn that into
Hold on.
motivation to keep us moving forward, or to start looking at our health, caring for ourselves in different ways.
Let me get my glasses. I think that might be half the battle too.
Mm-hmm. And Benita says further down here, she said, I had it for about 2 weeks ago throughout the entire weekend. Just would completely knock me out for an hour or so. Suddenly, cold sweats, feeling like I was in a vortex, etc. Well, you even had, Benita even had a little bit of that this morning. She had sent me that she just felt real lightheaded and just um, was seeing things, getting visions. And she kids me because that's actually usually more my deal than hers. I mean, she hears things and knows things, but to really see it, they were pretty intense.
It feels nice because they're finally opening the beaches and stuff, like in a way that we can all go out and be comfortable as families.
Hmm.
I don't really go out on the weekends, but I like the weekdays and the ability just to go and be with the ocean because it feels very watery. It feels very stormy. It feels very cleansing of emotional. It's like you can be either right on the outside in the storm or right inside the middle of that storm, and it starts to feel like just very, very fluid, very clean, and I like it because having been part of this community and working on the things that I have been working on and developing not only myself, but ways for others to expand their levels of consciousness and reach deeper into themselves. I've also started taking some other courses and stuff. It's providing a way for me to hone into the vibration that stays. So the
Mm-hmm.
core is always the same. It's always open. It's always accepting, but it's also using discernment, balancing the masculine and feminine, appreciating and stepping towards pleasure. Because the old paradigm, it had a really strong relationship with pain and the affiliation of like victimization or all of these things, but it's finally like, no, this has all been a scope of just this human experience. And then like time has been melting. I'm sure people
Oh
have
yeah.
noticed that it's Friday again. We're here together. It's Friday again. Thankfully we're all here together with love. But it's just um, I'm just excited because I feel like I'm finally getting a grip on holding the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you start to feel that nausea and you start to feel that remaining in the high spirits versus seeing what's kind of coasting around you, because there's a lot of things that try to pull you or push you off of that center point when you're in you're in full alchemy mode, you're in full creation mode, and like the twins are coming together, it's sounding good. It's also sounding terrified for some, right? Because that means the change is real, the change is permanent, and yeah, new base ground, new floor. So let's do our metaphor, the Wizard of Oz, the Wizard, because I was like, who else is Dorothy? Just looking for some glam shoes. Who else is who is the cowardly lion over here? Who is our Tin Man? Who is our who is our the scarecrow, right? And who's the wizard? And these are all the different aspects of the self, even the wicked witches, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
Glenda the good witch. She was kind of a, I'm just gonna say this. They say it in Hawaiian, it's hai maka maka, right? When you're like kind of snooty or you kind of look down on things. I feel like Glenda was kind of like a little snooty, like, oh, well, what kind of witch must you be? If you're worth anything, you've got to be a witch. You know what I mean? She was just a little snooty. She was great. They personified her interestingly, but to see it from the new perspectives, like, you know, how Wicked came out, and wasn't there one about the wizard too?
Mm-hmm.
When you're getting the different perspectives of all the characters of the psyche.
Well, and then there was The Wiz with Michael Jackson and everybody, so that was
Um,
Yeah.
a whole nother twist on that one. And then yeah, Wicked. And then I was lucky enough, I worked with a guy at the newspaper in Myrtle Beach. His uncle was the stunt double for the Cowardly Lion.
oh, cool.
And so getting to hear from him the stories was fascinating about, unfortunately, things were so different back then in Hollywood, and the heat in the costume and why they had to do so much, and everything wasn't perfect in Oz.
And that's for sure. But that's the thing is like she started at home. She was having fights at home. She was
Hmm.
uncomfortable in home, right? And it seemed like she was at odds with Auntie M and Uncle I don't remember the uncle's name. Does anybody? Anyway. Uh
Did we ever know his name? I know she calls out Auntie M, Auntie M, and she
yeah,
talks about the guys that work on the farm, but
Yeah, she called him by name. And
But either way, we don't really need to know their names theoretically unless there's some kind of deep-seated anagram that somebody wants to find out in their own personal algorithm. You know how it is
Telepath.
when you're out there. When you're out there like that, and angel numbers be flying at you, and you're just like, "Who are the names?" Anyway, um, but just knowing that it was just at odds, and then you get thrown for a loop, you find yourself all of a sudden, what is this storm, this, it's almost like we all had that point that broke us into our power of
Mm-hmm.
the, and our twin flame hood, right? Because it is its own particular adventure. The Wizard of Oz is its own particular adventure. And we all have our own stories, but we're all multifaceted in that sense. We find out, my favorite part is the wizard, right? How do we find out that we are actually the power within us that we need?
It's Uncle Henry.
Oh, Uncle Henry.
Just
Okay.
because it was bugging me.
Well,
My need for useless knowledge is amazing. So
let's see. I hope it wins or something tonight. That Uncle Henry line. Oh, Uncle. I don't know how to go with that. Anyway, but finding out who is our who we've been listening to and who we think we're projecting outwardly when we actually have all that knowledge and that power coming from within, similar to we've always had the heart to love, but how do we truly learn to love ourselves? How do we, what are we afraid of, right? Because fears are often holding us back on our journey. And we can reflect, I feel like, at this point, without the attachment. The further you get along the journey, the less attachment you have to the story, but it's the overall experience of the journey, like the purpose, the feelings. I don't know. How do you guys think about it?
well, I mean, I think right now what we're seeing a lot of is, people not trusting their intuition. And last week, I completely and totally got plopped down. You know, I wasn't allowed to leave my room, kind of thing. And it gave me an opportunity to really, look at things with my intuition and where I had kind of bypassed it. But then we still have people that, because I read it in the chats, that don't see it, well, how do you know? They always want that clarification. Well, how do you know? And the only true answer you can give is, what you know, it's a gut feeling. It comes from deep down. And there are still people that literally, they could be driving down the road, and the road construction sign could be flashing, road work ahead, and then all of a sudden switch and say, your DM loves you, and just flash twice and then go back to road work ahead. And they would think, oh, well, that's some kind of glitch in the sign. No, it's things like that, I mean, they can be just blatant, and then they'll say, well, show me another sign if that was for me. And it's like, you know, some
Yeah,
people
that
are,
asking so much of spirit when it's like, let's look behind the curtain here. You know exactly what you've
mm-hmm.
been told. Do you want to listen? Do you want to see your own power, or is there something still attached to that non? Oh my goodness, son. Oh
Whoop,
no.
Wee!
where'd you go? Oh,
It flipped over. It flipped backwards. I don't know how I did that. That was interesting.
yes, or music. That CPN in Texas, that is exactly it. That's, songs come on, they change, and the names of bands or readers. Oh my goodness. People I've never heard of all of a sudden are popping up in my news feed.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Who are these people? And then I listen to it, and it's like, oh, oh, you know, the DMs are moving around. They're getting out, whatever they need to get out, because we've got to remember, Sean made a wonderful point of this, and David had too when they were both on. The DMs don't really talk about this like we do. We've got our soul family. We know we can, talk to each other. We can talk about these things. They're not saying anything, and they're
Mm.
letting this, and it's getting to the point where it's bubbling, and it's starting to, for lack of better words, kind of fester, and it's going to rupture, and it's
Yeah.
coming. And that's where we've got to be strong and know what we know, what we know. And we've got to, when we're feeling cruddy and we're feeling crappy, we've got to send it back. Even if you're one of the newer ones that just know there's somebody out there and you don't know who they are, but those aren't your feelings, send them back. You know, because, and think about this too, and this is something Benita and I have talked about, is that when we all started this and we went into the dark night of the soul, and however we went through this, we didn't have a lot, we didn't feel a lot from them, and that's what really caused a lot of the freak out. And but the things, because we didn't feel them, where we moved on and changed, we learned to trust source, we learned to push ourselves to our next level, or to tap into our gifts, to follow our dreams, to follow our heart, because we didn't feel them. Well, we owe them that same gift. We got to pull it back. We got to take care of us. We got to pull it back, because there's stuff they've got to go through, just like there was stuff we had to go through. Because if they would have come back when we wanted them to come back, I can tell you right now, I could almost guarantee the three of us would not be sitting here. And for that alone, you know, that's something to be thankful for. So there are times that we really, and we've said it over and over again, we've got to we've got to pull back, we've got to release, we've got to let them go. We've got to let them go out of love. It's a gift. They gave it to us, and we're now have to give it back to them. We're not their mommies, we're their partners. We're their twins,
And
we're their
so,
other half. We don't take care of them.
and letting go looks different in different forms to different people.
Right.
And it doesn't mean stop loving, right?
No.
Because you never really stop loving someone.
Right.
But what you're
And
doing is
not
you're
stop sending
changing.
protection and things like that.
Well, well, to a certain extent, when you're over concerning yourself with another energy
Right.
or another being, and you're not focusing on your own avatar, which is the main conduit for you entering into and enjoying this experience, because we're moving into a pleasure space, right?
Hmm.
um, we get to learn how to enjoy ourselves, how to experience our own pleasure, our own existence in our bodies, in our avatars, with a balanced emotion, with everything flowing freely. And all of us are getting called to do different things, be that meditation, more self care like naps, um, exercise, like,
Divine Sunshine reminds me of my puppy. That one eye
well,
open,
well,
looking at you like,
technically, her DM is taking her on a date right now, so we can only just watch an enjoyment where she's going to have a dream world. She's about to enter into her own Oz, and so where are they taking each other? I don't know. Putt putt
Wow.
golf. I'm not sure.
I love the fact that CPN in Texas says it's a great journey, and that's a wonderful thing. And we've got to remember that, and remember all the blessings that we have from this, because um, to hear that it's hard and it's horrible and it's terrible, then you're not seeing the goodness that's coming out of it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I know when I look back, the person I was is not the person I ever want to be again.
Mm.
I don't want to be that scared little girl. I don't want to be the type that can't stand up for myself. I don't want to say, and I wish I could have said, years and years ago, no, mommy, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go into art. I want to go into psychology. But now is my chance. And we've got to grab it and go with it, because so many of us have been blessed with a second chance that many people don't get, because they don't see it. They don't take the time to let the paradigms die and see behind the curtain at the wizard. And those of us that have seen the wizard, we need to lead the way. And we need to see that it is a beautiful journey, that it's a great journey, it's an amazing adventure. And I think that's one of the movies. What is it? The Amazing or the Great Adventure of Oz, where they were in the hot air balloon. Yeah, and
There it
it's
was. That's what I was trying to remember. The Oz, because they had that Oz one. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, and it is. It's just such a wonderful thing, and to see every miracle every day. And when you understand your intuition and you have that, and it's like Christmas every day. They're just little gifts, and when you thank them for it, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The line at Dunkin' Donuts wasn't long. Thank you. The coffee was hot. Thank you. Oh, you think that's good. Tomorrow you're getting 13 donut holes instead of 12. It's like, thank you, to see and appreciate everything. Because right now, if you actually look out at some of the things going on, there's some pretty scary and horrific things happening, weather-wise, just people-wise, and we need to keep in a moment of gratitude.
So I will invite everyone, since we're going to expand on gratitude and really anchoring ourselves on the yellow brick road, right? Because we're on our way home. We're
Hmm.
getting back to ourselves, we're getting back to our twin, and we're finding power in this energy. And gratitude means even finding gratitude in those painful and uncomfortable experiences. You know, a lot of people like to look at the past with a negative aspect or a negative association to try to prevent them from repeating a pattern. Now, I found that, and even in the studies of manifestation, when you focus on the negative aspects of it, you're actually, and you enter into that space, you're entering into that vibrational field, which means then you're going to attract it. So
Hmm.
if you can look at your past as lovingly as you can look at your supposed future, right? Because you're creating your future with each breath. If you can do that with the same love and compassion, the a willingness to see yourself as a hero in the story, even when there were times when some of the decisions you wish or that you think you made that were incorrect, um, they've molded your character to now to fully appreciate this moment,
Hmm.
right? Because you don't know you in another experience. You don't know you in another paradigm, but you can shift into the future paradigm. You can shift the now moment of that association, especially when there's a lot of trauma involved from our childhood or moments where we lacked as much of a choice as the others in our scenario, let's say.
Hmm.
It's one of those, look at how I get to practice compassion. Look at how I get to practice forgiveness. Because that strength of being able to show that I can go on, that I can love, that I can still experience joy and connection shows that it can happen for all of us. And because we know we are all connected and in this collective energetically, we can really shift into that loving paradigm. We're now changing that whole experience to connect and to build onto the future. Because there's something about valuing ourselves and our experience and those moments of learning that really help give texture to the story.
Hmm.
Because, you know, as much as we all know the Cinderella story or the Sleeping Beauty story, it's the happily ever after that they don't really go into.
They let you answer that yourself.
And so, but what about the happily now? What about the experience of enjoying the journey right now? Right?
Mhm.
Because we don't need the turmoil in the future, or we don't need the turmoil now in our bodies to really enjoy that next space. We don't really need all the glitz and glam to be in awe of the wizard's wise words. We could hear it directly from his mouth. Yes, a beautiful landscape and some sparkly stuff and some really cool green motif or gold motif or however it changes this time helps, you know. Sometimes it's nice to add a little window dressing to the experience,
Mhm.
but that's the point of getting the experience, right? I guess that's the layers of gratitude, right? Is
Mhm.
how beautiful you can really truly understand the depth of something.
Yeah, CPN in Texas said, ask yourself what it is I need to heal, and what is this event telling you? And that's a wonderful thing. Vanita had said earlier that this was way up here. I remember seeing it, that I've noticed that healed wounds are popping up, but in the aspect that I'm seeing them clearly and can say, okay, I know that emotion and I know what it stems from. So let me look at it.
Exactly, and it's removed. It's
It
not
is.
so sore. It's not so raw, like a raw nerve kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's
It's really
that.
sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's like that scratch you find and you're like, "Oh, how did I get that?" It's not that blood gushing kind of laceration, it's like, "Oh, oh, I remember. I caught that, And it's not a
Oh, I got a good analogy. You know the sea, because you could confirm this for me because you're Florida. When you get a cut, but you're in the water, the salt water, you don't feel it until you rinse it off with the fresh.
mhm,
And that's when it can actually clean and heal. And you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember you. And now it's time to clean you out and heal you. So we're good. And it's a lot easier and lighter than, like you're saying, that deep laceration. Those ones, I feel like most of us has got ourselves to the point where, we're not doing that crazy stuff anymore.
Yeah, we're not picking our scabs. We see them, we recognize them, we understand where they came from, and we're letting it heal. We're letting it heal. We're not picking it to cause it to bleed some more.
Calm
It's just,
before the storm.
yeah, I'm getting the song. Have you ever seen The Rain by CCR collectively, specifically the line, the calm before the storm? And I think everybody's at a different level with that, and everybody's storm's going to look so different. Um, but yeah, it's coming. Timelines are speeding up. If you haven't noticed, I mean, it's ridiculous. Um,
Superpowers are going online. Everybody's
yes.
everybody's in time. They just don't want to believe it.
And the ones that do are getting it so fast. Just amazing. And it was like, it's almost like you get a little twinge there, like, gee, I wish I would have been that quick at getting it, but it's just, you know, it, there's a reason we learned at the speed we did. We couldn't, the time wasn't moving, or the timelines, not time, because we know that's not real, but it wasn't moving to the point that it is now, where it would be easier. I mean, if we would have been like, oh, I get that, I understand that, oh, my intuition, of course it's turned on, and yes, we're going to go, everybody would have been like, okay, slow down there, let's get your medication. But now it's more of a, an understandable thing. And
So it's definitely what she's saying, a social climate, right?
mhm,
And what you're allowed to do. That's why the kids are so much more advanced than we are, because they're given the gift of possibility. If you're
yes.
told that something doesn't exist, why they tell you you can't read minds or you can't hear things, but Santa Claus is real, I will never understand. That was just the messed up story. Just for real. Okay, anyway. Yes, we can do this. We got this.
Mhm.
We're spinning. We're coming down to earth. We've killed off part of our ego.
Yes.
Apparently, the really, really well. They say that the Wicked Witch of the West was more wicked than her sister, but I really feel like, or the Wicked Witch of the East was more wicked, or the West one's supposed to be more wicked than the other one. I really don't think so. And evil is just what? A matter of perspective and opinion and
Mhm.
time. Just like, we do that. We're not calling them divine. Well, the partners, the soul mates versus the twin flame versus the whomever you're partnering with, an energetic exchange. And, we've all been the characters in each other's plays. So just depends on who you're thinking is the star of the movie at this time.
Mhm. And that's it. And I think we're all starting to find out too, we're our own hero in the story.
Mm.
A lot of times we've read, and this is going to tell my age and how long ago I read it, but Jane Eyre. When you read books like that, in the beginning, and even like Little Women, as they begin, and then it continues on, and they become their own heroines, and that's where we are. We're actually seeing that light of being our own heroine. We're saving ourselves. We're not waiting for that knight on the white horse to come charging in. We want the knight on the white horse to come charging in because we want somebody to ride with us, because we're going to hop on our horse and go too. And that's the difference. They're not coming to save us. They're coming to accompany us.
Well, and in all actuality, there's a paradigm of women and or men, because we'll just say masculine energy and feminine energy.
Mhm.
That there's a feminine energy that doesn't know how to receive anyway. So even if she put herself in a situation where she needed to be saved, the odds are pretty good that she doesn't know how to accurately be saved, and in what way, right?
Mhm.
It's usually not the stereotypical way. It's usually in the kind of emotional somatic healing type of way, where they're holding trauma in their body and they're triggered by even your presence being loving in their lives.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of stuff or witches that need to be um, analyzed so that they can, be understood. Because it's not really a witch. Like, certain people are, well, those are all bad examples. I'm trying to think of a good example. I was like, wait,
Well,
we're
I
going to go
mean,
racism? It's too early for that.
when you think about it, like the English language, I mean, it truthfully is a spellcaster. You look at all the ways that we can use our words. That I mean, if you were going to go on the fact that someone casts a spell, that would technically make anybody that spoke English a spellcaster. And the fact that
The
we.
thing is, Kathy B, we have been. We
Mhm.
have been spellcasters. We didn't look behind the curtain because we didn't want to see it was us. So we didn't want to own it, our actual power. We own and we run the whole show, the whole shebang.
Yep, and we wanted
So
to blame somebody else. We wanted to blame who was behind the curtain. We never realized it was just a mirror behind the curtain, and it was us.
yes. So I'm excited to know I'm the wizard. It's empty, baby. What you want to do with this? All right. So as we go deeper, deeper down the rabbit hole, just kidding. We're not in Alice. We're on the Wizard of Oz as we funnel further and further away from Kansas.
Yes, and don't get caught in the poppy field.
What I would say, would you say, Kathy D, were your markers, or because Dorothy met several characters in the book.
Mhm.
Um, let's just do the basics. The Tin Man. Tell us some psychological ways to allow ourselves to uncover our Tin Man. What it would make us harden our shell or become like tin, not have a heart, put our hearts away, or even our masculine in his Tin Man
Well,
scenario.
it's blocking your heart from love and not following it. Um, Taking on those hurts instead of releasing them, you're holding on to them, and you're wearing them like a badge of courage, where they should have been released and let go so you can move on and love again. Um, so yeah, you have to go in and it's a lot of, it's heart chakra work, it's self-love, it's you know, that was the one thing with the Tin Man. He was able to cry, but he wasn't able to love, which is interesting from a psychological standpoint, that, because sadness and love are so very close to each other, that he was so close, he was right there. He always had the heart. He just didn't realize it. He was too scared to use it, too scared to follow it, too scared to share it. And that's what goes
Or
on with it.
maybe was he too scared, or was he made to believe that he didn't even have a heart?
Well, he'd been told, yeah, he didn't have a heart, and we've been told that. I mean, think about it. I'm in my late 40s, so I still grew up with the era of, men don't cry. You don't show emotion. And if a man did, it was either something serious or there was something wrong with him. If a little boy cried, get up, sissy, quit crying. Um, so it was a horrible thing, so yeah, he had been that the Tin Man had been told he didn't have a heart, just like a lot of the masculines, divine or otherwise, have been told that, that's not how a man acts. Well, you know what? The only way to know how a man acts is to follow your own heart, because you're your own man. You're your own person. It's not just a man thing, how they act, you know, um, growing up in the South too, and learning about, well, a lady does.
Hmm.
And your version of a lady might. My version of a lady, could stand toe to toe with somebody, so it's getting rid of these old paradigms of what people told us this generic definition was.
Hmm.
And that's where our Tin Man is. Releasing our heart, opening our heart, letting it flow. And I remember early on, I remember doing some of the work with Jupiter, and um, actually feeling my heart chakra pop. And that was the freakiest thing, because you think, is that indigestion? Because at that point, you're still kind of, I got little circles of light doing what in my body, and it's connected to, and but then you feel that pop, and then it's like that warmth, that it's like, where has that been all my life? You have inklings of it from being a child, but it's like, as it's closed up, as we've been told we don't have a heart, or we don't need a heart.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially when in terms of monetary, right? Because
Mhm.
I think a lot of women, myself included, have had to have this whole relationship and paradigm change with money, with root, with security, because you're not allowed to have a heart in the pursuit of financial security, which
Mhm.
doesn't actually make financial security sustainable for people who run from their hearts and their
Mhm.
heart space. And so having to have that inner masculine balance, saying, no, to protect and have safety within the heart, there needs to be that grounding, there needs to be that financial stability, there needs to be that game plan. And so, instead of running amok, like just going willy nilly, right, with an axe, because right, that's what the Tin Man had. He had his axe;
Mhm.
he could cut down any tree. Going willy nilly, just trying to make that paper by cutting down trees. Actually, just taking the time to find out what opens that space so that money itself just comes to you. It's just attracted to you.
Mhm. And you can
Because
even, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I was just going to be another positive affirmation, which is money just gravitates to me. It's a matter of me just allowing myself to receive it.
Mhm. And well, and something else that is, and it just came to me about the Tin Man is, if you remember, yes, he always had his axe, but he always had his oil can,
He sure did.
and that was his addiction, his addictions that covered up his feelings. And we all, and addictions, remember, don't always have to be bad. When we talk about these addictions, it can be anything. It can be an addiction to food. It can be an addiction to music. I mean, there are people that, addicted to exercise, like we talked about, addicted to sunlight, addicted to, whatever, candles, who knows, it's anything that is used to mask something else. Now, right now, I'm exercising a lot, and yeah, in a way, I'm doing it to move out of the energy. But there's also, I understand what I'm doing. I'm not masking it. I understand how this is working and how it's strengthening me and it's self love. And in turn, it's turning around and giving self love to my twin as well. So,
So yeah, there's also the level of somatic changing. So somatic is the body cells, right? The tension or the stress that she would normally carry, or any person would normally hold in a still body who's just trying to allow emotions to flow through, there tends to be stiffness or locking up or pain. And we often go through that when we do meditations at the end of these episodes. So almost every single one of them has them. But by her exercising, she is, that nauseous feeling, that alchemical change, things are shifting, and she's allowing her body to shift them faster with some levels of control. And because she's raising her frequency in the activity, because she's accepting, right? She's not pushing it away, she's not denying it. She's allowing it to flow through her body. So it causes a complete elevation in her twin experience. And in their twin experience, I guess I could start using the plurals now, in their twin experience.
yeah, and then it's funny that you talk about the stiffening, because that was the one thing the Tin Man always used the oil for, was so he didn't get stiff, he didn't rust, he didn't become useless. He talked about being, a rusty junk. But then we can go and we can look at, and I think the one that a lot of people can identify with, especially, is the cowardly lion. Because when we really take a look at things and seeing where fear has gotten us or kept us from, I mean, the poor little lion was scared of his own shadow, and he's scared of everything. He was scared of his own roar, his own roar. He couldn't even roar like the king of the jungle that he was. And that's where we've got to step back and we've got to look at, what are we afraid of in ourselves. Everybody talks about, if there's somebody that aggravates you or whatever, there's something in them that reflects or mirrors onto you, and you need to observe it. And that's very true, to a point. But then there's also people that have opinions, ways, certain things. I'm not saying by any means that if somebody's a murderer and you think what they did was wrong, makes you a closet murderer. No, I'm not saying that. But it's like, you know, so there are different levels to that. But that cowardly lion, we have to take a look at that cowardly lion of our own. Where have we said, I want to do this, and then let every reason in the book stop us for not doing it? And these are great, like, journaling exercises. Like, put it at the top of the page. I am the Tin Man. And these are the things that have,
Made me the Tin Man.
made
This
me
was
the Tin Man. But then you can also take that one step further. These are the things that made me a Tin Man. This is my oil can to fix this.
beautiful,
This is what I'm
beautiful.
going to do to get out of that. Same thing with the cowardly lion. I'm the cowardly lion. These are what I'm afraid of. These are my fears.
Even
And
this,
who told me these are my fears? Because remember, we have two fears in life: loud noises and being dropped. So then you've got people with phobias. You've got people with, all kinds of fear, anxiety disorders. And these are very real disorders. Who told you you had this? Where did this come? Do you believe it?
even the scarecrow, to the certain extent, he just had low self-esteem,
Yeah, he
really.
just wanted a brain. Somebody told him he was stupid.
And a lot of these templates have been programmed and are being deprogrammed as we speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's so many aspects to it, because That's how healing works. And it's not all in 1 second that you're just healed. It's like there's the bibbity bobbity boo, but it's just a costume change, right? To get
Hmm.
that deep work, it takes time. It takes practice, and it takes peeling back those layers to really get that juicy inside.
And that's when we've got to stop asking when and where and how. Because the more we put a time limit on it, the more we put a restraint on it, the more we put these things on there. Yes, I mean, granted, we have had visions, or we have had, there are people that can do readings and set times, and that's fine. But when you're sitting around constantly going, I'm ready for my DM. I don't know where he is. Why isn't he here? Why he should be here? That's what I'm talking about on the when and the where and the how and the why. And always know that any of these things that we're given, visions or readings or anything like that, are in the energy of the present, and things can change. And if you say, you're told that next week at 2:30 on a Thursday afternoon, your DM's going to drive up, ring your doorbell, and say, I was a damn fool. Take me back. I love you. Okay, that's fantastic. And you've been working on yourself. But the minute you know that, you stop working on yourself and you sit there and you wait in a chair by the door for Thursday at 2 o'clock, and the doorbell never rings. It's because you weren't moving the energy that was flowing at that moment. It works the same way. You can speed things up the same way. And we've got to quit with the stopping and the waiting and the questioning. Just go with it. Know what you know, and flow with it.
You can question if it's towards the progression of yourself and
Right.
for personal evolution, but
Not for.
overly questioning to the point of procrastination, overly helping others to the point of avoiding this inner
Hmm.
work, looking out so much for advice that you're no longer listening to yourself. These are all little pitfalls that we can help you avoid, because just think of the Wizard of Oz, or what is the movie that comes to you in line of how you start to uncover yourself. And the more you start to realize that you are the varying pieces in that dynamic. Even when there's the bad guy, right? Why were they so willing to be evil? Like, that was the thing. Like, I was watching The Lion King the other day too. I was like, what is the deal with Scar? How could he be so like, who is that? Where in my personality am I just being this rigid Scar? What is scarred up? And I
Hmm.
realized that there's a part of the heart. Right? There's a part of the heart that doesn't want to let in. There's a part of the mind that thinks that it identifies with some negative pattern, and yes, these things, they get lighter, they get less, they get looser, but they're you get to be aware of them. Me pretending it doesn't exist doesn't make me heal any faster. It's looking at it that allows me to heal. So I
Hmm.
invite you to do the same. Okay,
All
I have
right.
it.
So Cancer
Mhm.
has a question. She says, how can you protect your energy when living with someone only saying good morning? I feel like daggers aimed at times.
Okay. So I
I'll
guess I'll
let you
start.
answer that one first, because I live that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, we should probably let her have it.
I don't know
Okay.
if I handle that well, so you go first.
I
Tag you it.
You start with a basic understanding that everyone is having their own individual experience. Their relationship to you and your relationship to them are holding different resonances for your learning experience that your soul chose to have at this time. That being said, that sucks. To be honest, that really does suck. But building your own personal protections, your own energy protections, and realizing to not take it personally, right? Even if the person was, they're going through their own level of experience, and even if they are sending that type of energy out to you, odds are pretty good they're not just You're not the only one, right? And so they have their own experience and things that they get to learn through their process. And yours is to not hold that so personally or take it so offensively. I like to think of everyone like, I don't know if you know Muppet Babies, Cancer Jam, but if we're all in an episode of Muppet Babies, we're all these really unique characters, but we're having those moments of experience where they are living in some type of repeative trauma, most likely, especially this kind of shutout behavior. It typically is it's typically not about you at all. And so you can just pray for them, have that distance, that energy distance, and then create that space when you have the opportunity to move or that person moves out, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can actively work on that relationship if that's what you're trying to do, is cultivate a friendship or a family relationship. Or sometimes it just takes time to get to a point where they aren't triggered by you and you aren't triggered by them, because that's honestly what's happening. If they're so triggered that they're not speaking or they're having emotional shutdown and what did we say the other week? What were we talking about? Disassociation.
Disenfranchise.
No,
No,
disassociation.
disassociation. There we go.
So
Disenfranchise. I'm in business mode. Sorry.
she's writing up a loan application or a grant application for me with my disenfranchised. No, they're probably disembodying. In all actuality, they're probably disassociating. They might be going through traumas or stress or processing, depending on how empathic and whatever they are. There's several layers. Anyway, what about you, Kathy D? Because you're living that day to day.
Yeah, you can't let them stop you. If you feel like saying good morning and you are in a great mood, you don't let other people control you. You don't stop being you. Now, that doesn't mean you go pick a fight with them because you're ticked off, but you are you. You can't control other people, and that's one thing we so have to learn. And it's a shame that through this pandemic, that's one thing that some people are slowly getting. We can't control other people. We can only control ourselves, and how they see it can be totally different, because the way your DM could take, good morning, handsome, and the way your karmic takes it, the DM is like, oh, she loves me, and your karmic's like, what does she want? So it's how they're seeing things, how things have been in the past for them. And unfortunately, sometimes with the DM, it can be, what does she want? And unfortunately, then with the karmic, oh, she loves me. So you want to, you have to be kind of aware of that backstory that's going on, but always be true to yourself. Always be true to who you are and how you feel, and don't dim your light for anyone. You can't. You can't. It's time, all of us take off the mask. It's time to be who we are and not be afraid of it. Not be afraid of who we are and what we're capable of, what our gifts are. Um, you know, I think, sometimes I'm like, oh, people think I'm crazy. I'm a hypnotherapist. They're seeing, thinking David Copperfield and going to make people cluck like chickens, and
Yeah, go sit on
um or I can, make you smart, or I can make you these kind of things. It's not, I don't make anybody do anything they don't want to. And I got my website up. I got rid of my karmic website. I've got my good website up, and I was proud of it, because I stood up and said, hey, I can do this, and I'm going to list all these things plus more that I can do for you. I'm that confident in it. I didn't hide that light anymore. And if my karmic thinks that, I'm crazy and I'm practicing voodoo and this is some kind of cult, well, you know what? That's their issue. And I'll be more than happy to explain it when they're ready to hear it. But right now they're not ready to hear it. So, but I'm going to keep doing me, and I'm going to do the true, authentic me. And anybody else that doesn't like it, then I don't have time for that, because for too many years, I hid who I was. For 45 years, I played to what everybody else wanted. I mean, I straightened my hair. I did, all this craziness. I didn't wear makeup. I played at my brains and not inner beauty. I did all of these things because I wanted to make everybody else happy. And the problem was, in those 45 years, the one person that became more and more unhappy was me. The one person I wasn't making happy at all. So I look at it like I got another 45 years of making me happy.
And what's beautiful about the experience is she learned so much about herself and her boundaries and what she likes and what she doesn't like. And, it may have been externally guided, but she learned a lot about herself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing about people pleasing that I found within myself was, you know, yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's my character, to be that caring or that giving or that loving or, that self-sacrificing. But wow, look at me and look at what I learned. I don't like to do this. I don't like to do that. I do like to do this. Don't you worry about me about this. And then there's the point of, okay, humbling down, asking for support and assistance, actually receiving that, getting hit with the, oh, but am I worthy of this? I'm going to find something or something will appear to make me question myself, but nope. Got my girls with me telling me to hold the line. I'm sacred, I'm holy, we can do this. And that's how we honor ourselves, that's how we can honor each other. And that's why we continue to be who we are authentically. That's why my company, The Golden Life, is all about that, treating others as you wish to be treated, holding yourself accountable, holding others accountable to a standard that you yourself allow yourself to be at, right? Because that's part of it is you can have standards that are so high that you can't reach them, so you're always letting yourself down, right? Which is another scarecrow tactic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good enough. I can't even hold up to the standards I've set. Well, the standards you set are unrealistic. I'm sorry. You can't wake up out of bed fully makeup and with a six pack. No, I'm fully makeup. You can wake up with a six pack, but that's going to take a while, right? So just having that time, having that forgiveness. Okay.
You
Um,
could have a six pack of Sprite next to you and wake up with it every morning, and so
see,
see, it's
that's
all
the
in.
Jedi. That's the Jedi right there.
Till you turn over on it and you start hearing, then you got problems though.
Literal wet dreams and sticky.
And there we go, Freaky Friday. I knew she wouldn't let me down.
Hey, it's always Freaky Friday somewhere. Time's relative. Anyway, we okay, so I'm getting this feeling. I'm gonna do a different style of energy work with everyone today. Okay. Well, maybe it's not a different style. It's like a fusion. So everyone start to take some deep breaths, feel into your body. I like to wiggle. I'm usually on a ball so that I'm in a little bit more free movement. So sitting on a flat surface, I just let my hips wiggle around. My hips, my origin. I can stretch and wiggle my feet. Those are important. These beautiful getaway sticks, everybody. Hopefully you've got yours. Arms. Just go ahead and start to caress yourself. Caress your body. Just become aware of the skin, the beautiful, beautiful organ, this lovely container of you. Allow yourself to flow. Take some deep breaths. Start stretching all those tight muscles, all that soreness. I want you to go ahead and allow yourself to go into that space. I'm going to calm down my peanut gallery for just a second. Come here, bunny. See, not even the baby fuss can get me down right now. So take that deep breath, feel into the body, feel into that beauty. And then, ooh, just allow your energy to drop down to your heels. Just kind of tap your heels on the ground. And I want you to squeeze and open your palms. Allow the energy to build up in your fists. Whew. And I want you to allow the energy to just pulse through your body. Fill your lungs with air. Now envision around you a protection bubble. And inside that bubble, you are safe and contained. I'm going to go ahead and reach into everyone's bubble. Come here, bubble. I'm going to put my hand above all of your bubbles. And you can feel free to do the same if you want, where you are. Just put your hand up at the top of your bubble. And allow that energy to flow in from the crown. Here. Flow in from the crown down through the third eye, or the first eye, actually. The first eye, the back of the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. And I want you to squeeze those lower muscles in your buttocks. Squeeze your whole back. Go ahead, curl it. Curl your toes in and relax. And allow the energy to flow through the center of the earth. And as you start to feel this current run through your body, just running down, flushing all that stuck energy out of you. Any confusion, allow the energy to start to build. I'm starting to feel that heat. You can move your hand down if you want. I'm just going to keep pushing this energy, depending on if you're tired or whatnot with your arms. So allow this energy just flow through. Energy flowing through the hand above. It's golden through the core. It's just like a waterfall of gold light flowing through you, filling you up, allowing all the little chunks of debris and things that have been holding you back, different aspects or organs that have been holding on to pain or trauma or victimization, or low self-esteem. You just want to cleanse all that out of you. Allow the earth to take it. It flows down through your body, through your lower, through your knees and feet to the center of the earth, and the earth just churns it and turns it into this beautiful, rich, golden, red, yellow lava, and it just bursts out in some other side of the world, creating more beauty and more land and more structure of abundance. So just sit in the space. Allow yourself to feel the cleanse happening. And I want you to close that energy off from above. Allow it to go down through your head, through your feet, and the last little bit of energy, negative energy, is leaving. And so you're starting to build the energy that's clean within you on yourself. Just allow it to build and build and shift and shift. And as it builds, it raises in your body and fills up your body, then starts to fill that protection bubble. And I want you to start to imagine that your body is vibrating, very tiny little vibrations. Every cell is starting to separate and have space between it. And all this space, there's a space for creation. And the space gets deeper and deeper, and every cell starts to separate. And it, in between, it fills with this golden love, this golden light. And as it cleans and continues to strengthen and fortify the beautiful, loving being, the beautiful creatrix that is you, in between all the cells. Now, I want you to become solid again, become a body, become you. Start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, start to sway back and forth. You, as you start to become more material, more solid inside of your protection bubble, you feel the strength, you feel the love, you feel the core of you being you, being you, being now. Take a deep breath, come into body, tap your solar, what is this? Sternum. It's not a solar plexus. Tap your sternum here. You can tap your lower abdomen if you want. You can hold the space. I like to hold a little pyramid like this, little energy, and hold it there. And bring my energy into my feminine areas. Allow my hormones to just kind of start to regulate. Allow me to feel myself in my divine femininity or masculinity or whatever set you have or whatever gender you identify or don't identify with. Just allow yourself to come into your humanness. Wiggle your toes. All right, how we feeling? How you doing? You back? Feeling good? Looking good? You look pretty glowy. All right. So how we doing, everybody? Okay, well, our sweet, sweet sunshine. Are you still there in the background? Bertina, can you hear us? We love you. Can you hear us? Well, any closing words, Kathy Lee?
I guess, coming out of all of this, really, this next week, take some time and if you can, watch The Wizard of Oz if you can sit through it. It always scared me because the woman that played the Wicked Witch was also the Folgers coffee woman, so I was always terrified of coffee from then on out. But go and see where you are within each one of those characters, with the Cowardly Lion, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man. Don't forget Toto. Toto was a very important part in that. That was a support animal. That was her, but he actually wound up having more courage than everybody there. So I mean, he took on the flying monkeys, he took on everything. So, and see where you are with Dorothy, see where you are with the Wicked Witches, and the Good Witch, Glenda the Good Witch. And then, make sure you check out the flying monkeys. Whose bidding are you doing? Who are you doing things for to please? Those are people pleasers. Next time you feel you must please somebody, remember that's a flying monkey. You don't want to be one of those little flying monkeys. They look like bellhops. Did you guys remember that? They had the little bellhop hat, and they kind of look like little bellhops.
That's funny. They sure did.
But so each one in those characters, see where you fall into that, where you are on the yellow brick road with that. I've tried my father. Cancer Gem, what do you I'm kind of lost. Did I miss something somewhere? But it's check out those, and even if you can't or don't want to watch The Wizard of Oz, I mean, there's so many other great versions of it. There's The Wiz, which is actually, they go to the point where in The Wiz they try to set the scarecrow on fire. The little flying monkeys and the scarecrow and the crows make fun of him. So and it's a modern twist on it. So look at a couple of those different ones and see what movie resonates. If it's The Great and Powerful Oz, that's the one that Disney had to get their hand in there and make a twist on that one. But so take some time this week and just, if you don't write it down, I mean, of course, I'm always going to say writing it down is always the best, but if you can't write it down, sit down and think about it. Take some time, meditate on it. Ask to be shown where you are these things so that you can, for lack of better terms, as they would say in The Wiz, the song from that was "Ease on down." They ease on down the road. Yep. So, and that's what we need to do. That's what we need to be doing on our adventures. Just ease on down the road. And, it should be an easy, joyous, happy, because if you notice, as they kept moving closer and closer to Oz, they got happier.
So if you like this video, please click like and subscribe. You can share this wonderful
Yes, please.
channel. Our divine unisoul / she is the one of the spearheads of the twin flame community and experience, and so a lot of us are going through it right now, and we are just happy to be here on her channel. We've got our wonderful pineapple fish life coaching, Kathy D. I'm like, which way?
I know, we're not used to being next to each other. I mean,
Kathy D. For all those wonderful psychological, she does wonderful hypnotherapy. I've done some work with her. Amazing work. She does some really cool new weight loss stuff, which is pretty awesome. Check her out, Pineapple Fish Life Coaching.
the website is finally up.
So you can go there now.
Check it out. See what you find.
Or we've got Made for This Golden Life. That's my platform and this conscious community that we are building together. I do a lot of meditations, and we are working towards divine goddess empowerment. So I'm working on my Divine Goddess series, and I'll be working on a one for men soon.
And if you haven't used any of your steams or your baths or anything like that, they're amazing, absolutely amazing. I have been lucky enough to be gifted the Yoni steam, and so it is just absolutely amazing. I can't say enough nice things about that. And if you've never worked with April in her energy healing, absolutely amazing. And if it's funny, I always get to tell this story is she talked to me when she did my first energy healings before we started the playground, and she said, she asked me about a purple dress and if I had big 80s hair, and that would have been my senior prom. So she not only saw the dress, but saw the hair and the 80s makeup. So, I mean, the woman's good. And we've never actually been in physical, closeness with each other. We've always been online. So it's not like she saw the dress hanging in a closet or anything like that. I mean, she knows what she's talking about, and her work is absolutely amazing. So.
Oh, shucks.
And then if you're lucky on an energy healing, you get Little Man there to play the drums for you. And that's just like an added blessing.
There's some stuff that I'll be teaching to you. I'll make some posts, and I want to work with you, Benita, on doing some live stuff about what kids are like and what's happening with their ascension and stuff like that, and how it looks for them, as well as when you do energy work, because my child would come through in visions to me before I birthed him, doing the energy healing work with me teaching him how to do all of the preparation and then doing the work. And he has, like, I have friends who, like, he's hugged and stuff like that, and they're like, this is a healing. Like, your son is giving healing. He put his hands on one woman, she started crying. I was like, all right, we're doing okay. And then he has a fit and puts ketchup all over the place. I don't know. Anyway, c'est la vie.
We all have our fits and put ketchup everywhere. You can't always be divine.
Except, who can? Divine Unisoul. Divine Unisouls11.co. She's got a lot of awesome meditations, some coursework there. She does like beautiful like notes to go along with her work. So you can buy workbooks and stuff there. She does different types of readings and stuff too. I know she's doing the divine love letters too, right?
Mm-hmm. I think she's still doing the love letters. Those are amazing. If you've not had one of those, it's amazing.
Yes.
To be able to grab their essence like she's able to. And she is a woman of many talents. She also does some past life regression stuff, and she's working on a lot of that. Yeah, see, Benita had Little Man help out on her first session too. So you got to be lucky to get the Little Man in on the session.
Pretty much. And we do a package deal together.
We do.
The Playground Experience, where you can purchase that at divineunisouls11.co. You get an hour with each of us, which is for a very affordable price. So check that out. And as of yet, I guess, maybe, can we try to do her thing together? Is that even humanly possible? She gonna come back on and say it?
What, her namaste?
Outro.
Which one now? Her. Namaste?
Wait, you say your outro, I'll say my outro,
Okay.
and then we'll do hers together. We'll see
Okay. So wishing you the best life ever. See you real soon.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Namaste. Namasko. We did not do it justice. We're so sorry, Divine Sunshine, but and we hope you feel much better.
Like, look at my red hair. Oh, get a Divine Sunshine wig. Just kidding. Oh no. This is the stuff we're supposed to talk about when the show is off. Anyway, aloha.
Bye, guys.